everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Becky Sekyere. I hope you're all doing well. So today I have a guest on my channel and her name is Priscilla Kumar. So Priscilla, we both went to the same secondary school, not in the same year because I'm the older one. And then we happen to have attended the same university as well. I'm in the UK. Priscilla lives in New York State. And she works as a nurse, I work as a nurse, and we want to share with you today, or the topic for today is about the difference between UK and USA. We have to do with nursing really anyway. So, and we're going to be talking about things like healthcare and all the lot. So without talking too much, I will let Priscilla introduce herself. She's a YouTuber as well. So you can subscribe to her channel. So especially if you want to know more about nursing in the USA. So Priscilla, can you introduce yourself, please?
Oh, thank you very much, Becky. I'm glad to be on your show because you've been on mine before, so it's my turn to be on yours. Yes. So my name is Priscilla Kumar. As you said, I come from Ghana. I schooled in Ghana. I'm a US citizen now. I live in New York State. I'm a nursing YouTuber. I still work as a registered nurse full-time. So I do this along the side. And today we're talking about nursing in the US versus nursing in the UK. And we're leaving you the choice to you to decide where you want to move to. Yes, so I'm glad to be here.
Good, thank you. Thanks for coming. So the first thing I'm going to talk about UK nursing would be about the registration process. So if someone is living overseas, Ghana, India, Philippines, and wherever, and they want to come and work in the UK, most of the employers would need you to have at least 1 year experience in your home country. And then the starting point would be to register with the UK NMC. So the registration process is online. You would be required to send some document to verify your qualification, and you'll be required to write an English test to make sure you can speak, listen, read, understand English. So you would either be doing the IELTS or OET. The NMC is consulting in order to reduce the score for IELTS or the English test anyway, and the OET. So hopefully it might become a little bit easier for the future. So you would do that. In addition to that, you're required to do CBT, which is a computer-based test. You would do that in your home country. And then if you meet all the registration requirements as a nurse trained outside of the UK or EU, then you would be getting a decision letter in order to move to the UK to do your OSCE, which is the practical test. And after that, you would get your registration and you will start practicing as a nurse in the UK. Okay. So what about USA?
Yes, yours is very concise. Ours is very lengthy, but I'll walk you through it. Okay. So before somebody who could outside the US works in the US, they would have to make sure your credentials match the American standard. That means they'll have to evaluate your credentials, your transcripts, your nursing pin, your courses that you took before you can use them to even work here or school here. If you're coming to school, they would evaluate your transcript. So either you are doing your evaluation for professional job work, or you are doing your evaluation for school if you want to study abroad. You still have to evaluate before you can use it to gain admission into the schools. Yes. So I'll just talk about nursing and what you have to do. So the first thing you have to do is decide what state you want to live in, because there are 50 states and every state is sort of like a country. They all have their own requirements. They're different from every other state. So you want to decide what states you want to live in, or you are likely going to live in. Or you can also go state shopping. You can go and look at the ones with the requirements that are easier for you or faster for you. Then you can do it for that state. Then after you move in and decide the state you want to live, you can convert and transfer that license to the state you want to live. Some of the states, their requirements are too cumbersome. So people are going with the easier states. Florida is straightforward. Colorado is straightforward. Some states, you can even start the process outside the US because they do not require you to have a social security number to start the process. So there are some states that you can start outside. So by the time you get into the country, you've already done like a bit of work Yes. So you can decide a state, decide, oh, I'm going with New York State. Then you go to New York State Board of Nursing. Then you see the requirement for a foreign educated nurse. That is the word they use. UK, you say overseas nurse. We say foreign educated nurse or international nurse. So you go to New York Board of Nursing and see the requirement for a foreign educated nurse. Then, based on whatever they say, they would always say you have to evaluate your transcript. No matter what Board of Nursing you choose, they would always want your transcript evaluated, all the 50 states. So then they would mention the company that they want you to send your documents to. So one of the biggest companies that evaluate your transcript is called CGFNS, Center for Graduate Foreign Nurses. So if they say they want you to use CGFNS, you better go with what they say. If you bring any other transcript evaluation to them, they will not accept it. Even if you did an educational transcript evaluation to study abroad, you cannot bring that report to work, because this is education transcript evaluation is different from work transcript evaluation. So one of the big names, CGFNS, there's another one called ERES. Only certain states accept ERES, so you have to be very specific. So when the board says use CGFNS, you do that. So you go to CGFNS website. Then you go and look for information concerning foreign educated nurses. Anywhere you go, you want to look for foreign educated nurses, because the same website serves American nurses who schooled here. So you want to stick to the foreign educated nurses transcript evaluation or credential evaluation service, CES, credential evaluation service. Then you see all their requirements as well. You make the payments normally through credit card. Then they release the forms. If you don't pay, you never see the forms you need. So you pay before you have access to the forms. You download the forms, you sign your portion as the applicant. Then there's a portion for your school, your secondary school, based on how long you left secondary school. I think if you left 10 years ago, they waive it for you. Then there's a portion for where you got your nursing education. So let's say you got diploma nursing education from Kolebu Nurses Training College, and you came to University of Ghana for a top-up. You're gonna send the form to Kolebu and send the form to University of Ghana. Anything that concerns your education, if you attended 3 nursing schools before you finally became a nurse, or you did a top-up, an upgrade or anything, they want you to, there's an academic history. They want you to write all the schools you attended, and you send that form to all the schools to fill out. With some of the evaluation services, you send the form physically to all the schools. With some of them, they mail it. When you fill your applicant's portion, you sign it. My time, I filled my portion, I signed it in front of a notary public. It has to be notarized with a notary stamp. I don't know if, yeah. So you notarize it, then you mail it back to CGFNS. That was what I did my time, but they've changed the rules. So I mailed it back to CGFNS, and they mailed it to my school with a regular mail, and it never arrived. Yes, so I had to start all over again. Mine took me close to 2 years, yes. But now I think they let you sign it and go to the schools yourself and let the schools endorse it. But the school has to mail it back to them. So all the credential evaluation services, how they do this. So some you have to do it, as I said. So when they get it back, they would now sit down and evaluate all your courses one by one and make sure that it matches the American system. If your courses don't match, they will say you don't qualify to work. So if you're a midwife, do not use CGFNS. I did a video about midwives that use CGFNS, and it came back that their education does not match the American standard. There's one for you to use. And I will always advertise my little team that have formed. We have a US RM pathway consult. We know which team, which form to use, which company to use, and how to get this working for you. There's a route for you now, midwives who want to work in US. Midwifery in US is a master's program and above, but in Ghana and most of African countries, it's a diploma course. It's a 3-year diploma, but there are some states that are letting midwives work, and the states are very limited. And US RM Pathway Consult, join us. We have a Telegram group, find us on Facebook, And if you subscribe to my channel name is Priscilla RN. You find all the details on my channel. Then we can guide and coach you as to where to go so that you don't get rejected. So when CGFNS says that your report is good, then I forgot to mention, the state board that you chose, you register with the state and pay whatever they also have registration. For New York State, it was $143 when I paid, it's still the same. So you register with New York State. So they will be waiting for your report to come from CGFNS. So when CGFNS is done, you have an account, online account, you'll be tracking what stage your document has reached. The document has been mailed out to Ghana, they'll let you know. The document is back, they'll let you know. Your report is ready, they'll let you know. We've sent it to New York Board of Nursing, we sent it to Texas Board of Nursing, they'll let you know. So when that Board of Nursing receives it, they will also let you know that they've received your report from the Credential Evaluation Service that sent it. You don't do any hand delivery, they communicate to each other. Then when they think that your report is good, your courses that you studied matches the American standard, then they give you the go-ahead to register and take the Nclex, Nclex. That is the US licensure you need to take before you can work here. We have different types of Nclexes. There's Nclex for RN, registered nurse, and there's Nclex PN for licensed practical nurses as well. Like LPNs are a little bit below RNs. They do 2-year program and they work. They cannot do IV medications or first-time narcotics and stuff. They have to work with the RN. RN delegates to them and they work side by side, yes. So you're either taking the Nclex RN or the Nclex PN, and it's a computerized based test. So you register with Pearson VUE, that is the company that organizes Nclex all over the world. If you're writing Nclex in India, it's by Pearson VUE. If you're writing it in UK, in South Africa, it's organized by Pearson VUE. And you go to the exam center, you sit in a booth with headphones, just you and a glass, and you write your test and pass. So when you pass, in 48 hours, you have the official results on their website. And if you type in your name, you go to New York Board of Nursing and you type Priscilla, you'll find me. So if somebody is telling you they are a nurse and put your name, their name they have on their set, you realize who is a real nurse and who is a fake nurse. And even if you type it in Google, it will let you know, not even just New York Board of Nursing. You can type it elsewhere and I'll pop up with my license number too. Yes. So you can check your results, and then later on in the mail, you receive a hard copy of the certificates posted to your house in your box. You take it, open it, and you see your results and all the instructions and things you have to do. Then you are officially a US RN and you start working. This scenario is for somebody living in the US. Somebody outside the US will do the same thing, but agencies are helping you do it. Recruitment agencies now are all over. There's Avance, there's Upgrade Python, there's Adivia. I made a video about all the agencies that are recruiting. You can check that video out on my channel as well. So then the agencies know the pathway. So they guide you. You sign a contract with them, you register with them when they think you meet their requirements. They want you to be working bedside, acute setting. They want you to have 2 years experience and above. They want you to be available and be at that same place for 18 months whilst they take you to the process. They help you write Nclex and they bring you over and you are bonded to them. So the agency will do all this paperwork for you. They will just ask you, what is your date of birth? What is your certificate? Send it to us. They will send it to CGFNS and do all that and take you to South Africa where you write the Nclex. Africa has only one center and it's in South Africa. People used to go to India because the South Africa office was closed due to COVID, but it's back open now. So if you're in UK, you can write it in UK, you can write it in India, you can in South Africa. And if you don't want to use the agency, you can do this as an individual by watching these videos that we always put out. And do it as an individual and find a hospital, tell them you have RN license, but you are in Africa and they might offer you a sponsorship visa or something. That once again, we have access to recruiters here. So if you pass RN and you approach US RN pathway consult, we'll link it to a recruiter. That is another side business I'm doing. I'm multitasking a lot of things, yes. So the agencies will do that for you. Pass the RN, they get you your immigration, and luckily they cover your spouse and your kids, and they all come and you all get green card and live in America and work in America. So basically register with a board, evaluate your transcript, pass Nclex, go through immigration, come to America. That is all you need to do to become a nurse in America.
That's great. So even with the UK as well, when you register with NMC, you start the process, they communicate with you via email until they tell you you're ready to come and write your OSCE, which is the practical exams. In addition to that, when you get registered in the UK as well, when you type your name, you type my name in Google on a UK Nursing and Midwifery Council's webpage. If I'm a true nurse, you would find me there with all my information. It's the same with any nurse registered in the UK. And with the recruitment process as well, people can do it themselves. As soon as you have a letter from NMC to say you can come and do your OSCE, you can go through an agency or you can apply to hospitals or care homes directly. It's a bit difficult these days because they have this red list and all those things, but it doesn't prevent people from applying themselves. So the next thing we shall talk about is about the salary. So I'm going to talk about the NHS because that's where I work. Private, they have their own salary scales different from NHS. So when you come in and you're doing your OSCE, you would be paid below a nursing salary. But when you get registered, you'll be paid as a fully qualified nurse. And the salary for a starting nurse is about £25,655 per annum, not a month, sorry, per annum. That comes to about 1,500, 1,600 in a month. If you do weekends or night shifts, you get a bit extra. Now, in the UK, we are paid monthly. So that is our pay system. If you work as a band 5, which is the starting grade of a newly qualified nurse, the range of the salary, as I said, starts from about 25,600. And when you work over a few years, it goes up yearly to about £31,534 per annum. So that is divided on monthly basis. If you're living in London, your salary will be a little bit higher than someone who is outside of London because of high cost of living in London. So that's how our salary system is. People can do part-time, people can do full-time, and people can do agency or bank shifts in order to get a bit more.
So in US, you can't pay anybody monthly. No. People want to be paid daily. That's how bad it is. So you are either paid weekly or bi-weekly every 2 weeks or monthly. There are some nurses that are paid monthly and they are salaried. We call them salaried nurses. And they are like nurse managers and people in administrative positions, they are paid monthly. So if you put in too many hours, less hours at a month, you still get the same thing pretty much. Yes, that's nurse managers and above. So for me, I'm paid bi-weekly. I am RN2. The ranks we have RN1. New grad, fresh from school is RN1. Then you go to RN2, then RN3. Some places you get your RN2 right after 6 months probation. Sometimes you wait a little bit. If you come in as an immigrant, a foreign educated nurse, an overseas nurse, you are taken in as RN1 despite all the years of experience. So I was lucky to be taken as RN2. I got 2 offers. One said we will not consider your education. So you are RN1, no grad. One said we'll consider your education as RN2, but you still have to do some things that we want our new grads to do, like a residency program that is a 1-year training. So I went through that, but I was accepted as an RN2. So I remember when I started as RN2, I started off at either $26 or $28 an hour. Mind you, I live in New York State, but I don't live in New York City. New York City is what you see on TV. The nightlife and all the flashy things, yes. If you live in New York City, the cost of living is expensive there, and they pay you to match that level of standard of living or whatever. Yes, so somebody who even is a new grad can be taking $45 or $50 an hour in New York City. And I, who is RN2, who is not even a new grad, is nothing near that. So I started, I think, 26 or 28, I can't remember. But currently, as RN2, I am between $31 to $35 an hour. So let's say monthly, that amounts to bi-weekly, I'm paid twice a month. So let's say when a paycheck comes of two weeks pay, which I work 80 hours because every week I put in 40 hours a week. So I work 10 hours a day for 4 times. So for another 4 weeks will be 8 days. So my 80 hours work worth what I normally get. Sometimes I get $2,500, $2,600, but I do overtime. And there are other factors that would affect your pay. Like if you do weekends, there's weekend differential. If you do nights, there's night differential. If you do holidays, there's holiday differential. If you do overtime, you get overtime pay. So even though I earn between $31 to $35 an hour, if I go overtime, I'm like $52 an hour. So somebody who is the same RN2, started the same day with me and everything, will be making, her paycheck might be bigger than mine because she's a contract staff, she's a weekend staff, she worked holidays, she worked nights, and she did all that. That is what you do to make your salary come up a little bit. So in a month, I can say I earn between $5,000 to $6,000 a month. Yes. Okay. And per annum, I earn between $70,000 to $75,000 a year.
It seems like the salaries are higher in the US than in the UK. So as you said, if you're from Ghana or wherever in the world and you come to UK as a new nurse to UK, you would have got about 10 years experience in your home country, 5 years experience. You come to UK, when you register, unfortunately, your years of experience doesn't count. Your pay starts like someone who has newly qualified in the UK, which is really unfair, but that is how the system is. So what can you do? So for me, I've been band 7. So we start from band 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm 7, I've been 7 for about 10 years now. And I won't be specific, but my hourly salary is between 23 and 24 pounds per hour. My monthly salary, still not going to be specific, but it's between 2,500 and 2,600 per month, pounds. I'm talking about pounds. So when you look at that, it depends on the individual. Someone who is band 5 and newly qualified or newly registered, they might be paid about 1,000, 5,600 pounds a month if they are living outside London. Living inside London, as I said, because of high cost of living, they are paid a little bit more higher. So the next thing we would talk about is about maternity leave and maternity pay. So in the UK, everyone, depending on where you're working, NHS or private, you are entitled to 1 year maternity leave. So you stay with your baby for 1 year. In the NHS, we talk about maternity pay. So the maternity pay depends on how many years you have worked for your employer, especially we have qualifying criteria, I would say. If you're not qualified, you will still get something, but not as someone who has qualified. So if we are talking about that qualification for a full maternity pay, it means that you would have worked about a year or 12 months by the 11 weeks before your date of delivery. So if you have done that, you would get about 8 weeks full pay, 18 weeks half pay, in addition to either statutory maternity pay or maternity allowance. So that would make up to almost about your full salary. So, and then you would only have 13 weeks after that of statutory maternity pay or maternity allowance. So it takes you to almost getting to 9 months. And then the final 13 weeks into the 1 year, you get nothing. So when I had my baby 11 years ago, I stayed home for 9 months. After that, I decided to go home. If you're married, your husband would be entitled to 2 weeks of paternity leave, so he can stay home and help you for 2 weeks. There are people who can actually apply for what we call a shared parental leave. So the man can take some and the woman can take some as well. So basically that is how our maternity leave and pay is in the UK. What about the US? You're laughing.
Don't have that in a capitalist society. The capitalists just want you to be working. Even if you are dropping dead, they want you to be at the factory before you drop dead. You can't be in your house. So nobody stays with their child for a year unless they are jobless or unless you want to sleep on the streets, you want to go broke. So what I know is that we have some vacations or whatever we call them. There's one called PFL, paid family leave, and there's one called FMLA. It's the time you take off to take off a sick family member. And when you're hired for whatever hours you're hired for, it says in your contract letter, if you're hired 40 hours a week, like I am, in the beginning of the year, January 1st, they give you some hours to keep in your PTO bank. PTO is a paid time off. So before, I think I used to be 36 somewhere else, and the whole year I got 36 hours. And that 36 hours is what you put down for contingencies. If you wake up and you have diarrhea, you have to call in, or you wake up and your kid can't go to school and you don't have anywhere to keep the child, then you have to use your PTO. So imagine they giving you 36 hours or 40 hours for a whole 12 months. And this is January 2nd, and you've already used it. You've already used 12. If you work 12 hours, that means you're going to call in and not be at work for 12 hours. So if they take 12 hours out of your 40 hours, what are you left with? So everybody gets a paid time off, PTO, and that is 36 to 40 hours off. Or now I have 56 hours. People complain so much, so they add a few. So I have 56 hours to use in the whole 1 year. And the vacation, we take vacation 1 week per season. So you do one spring vacation, one summer vacation, one winter vacation, like that, and be going. So people don't use it. You save it in your vacation bank. When it hits a certain number, they can pay you for it. Some people will roll it over to the next year, but some people will pay a portion of it. There's a mark like after anything after 200 hours, you have to use it or you lose it. It's another one that if you don't use your PTO, you get paid for the PTO convert into money. So let's say that December 31st, I did not use any of my 56 hours in my PTO bank. They will pay me in the upcoming January paycheck. They'll pay me for 56 hours of the PTO I did not use. But the vacation, if you don't use a certain amount, you lose it. It doesn't roll over. Some places they claim theirs rolls over, but it's all different. So maternity leave. So you work up until you feel labor is about to start. I had a colleague who worked, she came to work and went home and went into labor and had a baby the next day. You do not want to spend any of a vacation in advance. You want to spend that time with your child after the child arrives. So you do whatever, so far as you're physically fit, you can still take yourself to work. You work in your pregnant state 36, 40 weeks until you can no longer go. You can take PFL, paid family leave, take some time off and be home till the baby comes. That means you're reducing your hours. I think they can give you up to 12, 13 weeks. And the FMLA too, the one you take care of yourself or a sick family member, you can apply for some, but you cannot have both at the same time. That I'm not too sure about, but I think if you have PFL, you can't have FMLA. Sorry about that. So you either have, so on paper, your maternity leave is like 6 to 8 weeks. Okay. So if you add your PFL and the PTO that you have not used and the vacations that you never touch, you add all these things, maximum 10 to 15 weeks with your child and you are back to work. Two people can have babies the same day, but one will come back to work before the other. I have a friend, a colleague who stayed home for 3 months with their child. That is 12 weeks because she did not use much of a vacation. So you have to know how to move around your vacation. If you work and the vacations, so you accrue them as you work. With every paycheck, you get, I think, 3 hours vacation. So every time you get a paycheck, 3 hours. So because I'm paid twice, you get 3 hours, another 3 hours. So 6 hours vacation will be topping up to your vacation bank and be building as a graph. So when it hits a mark, that's when you have to use it because you will lose it. It will not roll over. Yeah, so you save all that and add it to your little 6, 10 weeks things and maximum 15 weeks maximum you're back to work. Nobody stays for 1 year. I wish we did. Paternity leave, I'm not sure about that. I don't think so.
Okay, so in the UK, leave we are entitled, so it depends on how many years you have worked for your employer. So if you've started in the NHS, you've done your first year, you would be entitled to 27 days leave for the whole year, which starts from 1st of April to 31st of March. So that's how it works. So that would take you to about 5.4 weeks, 5 weeks and 4 days, I would say, in a year. So it depends on how you take it. You can't take all together. So for example, if I'm going home to Ghana, I would take 2 weeks. If I need more than 2 weeks, I have to write and ask permission to be given about 3 weeks or 4 weeks. So that's how it works. After you have worked for 5 years or 10 years or more, your leave increases. So I am entitled to 33 days, which is about 6 weeks and 6 days for the whole year. So it depends on how I take it. Now, with sick pay, I don't know how it is with yours, but if you fall sick, for the first 7 days, you self-certify. You just inform your employer you're unwell, and it depends on how long it takes. So if it takes 7 days, I will self-certify that I've been unwell without a doctor's letter. Anything after 7 days, you need your doctor to certify and give you a sick note. So for your employer, in the first year of service with your employer, you would be entitled to 1 month full pay and 2 months of half pay if you become unwell for a long term, over a week or two. If you've worked for 2 years, then it increases to 2 years full pay, and then, sorry, not 2 years, 2 months full pay, and then 2 months of half. So it carries on. If you have done over 5 years, 10 years, for someone like me, if, for God forbid, I become unwell long term, I would be entitled to 6 months of my full pay and then 6 months of half pay. And in between, you would have meetings with your employer and they would check how you're doing. Can we do any adjustments in order to bring you back quicker and things like that? So those are the conditions of service with the NHS. So it depends on private entities and what their contract is. So that's about some of the working conditions. What about sick leave at yours?
So we also have something called short-term disability or long-term disability. Okay. Let's say you had some type of cancer and you're going to be on treatment for so long. That's obviously long-term disability. The facility, and first of all, every state is like a country on its own. So the labor law for New York State might vary a little bit for the labor law from Texas or Florida or something. But whatever the labor law says there, whether you are a nurse or you're a teacher, environmentalist, whatever, that law, because you live and work in New York State, the same, if a nurse is taking 10 weeks, the same thing you take, even though you are an engineer or whatever. Yes, so based on what the state says, that's what the employer is supposed to do. Okay. Yes, so you get a long-term disability or a short-term disability. As usual, people don't like talking about their salary. I haven't been in that situation, so I can't tell, but you get a percentage of your pay. Either they give you 60% of your salary that you would have been getting if you were still fit and working, or then they let you go. That's when people start to apply for Medicare, and Medicaid, depending on whatever your age is and whatever your limitations are and all. Yes, but if it's a 1-2 day sick thing, you can use your PTO. But if you want to be getting paid, and the FMLA too is something that covers yourself or a sick family member, and it protects your job, but you don't get paid. But the PFL is the paid family leave. If you have a childbirth is under, pregnancy is under paid family leave, and that they still give you a percentage of your pay. They don't give you everything. So you have to now be calling HR and find out what your situation is and what will be best for you to apply for. I called HR and I said I needed some time off because I'm having some health challenges and all. And they said, with what it is, you don't qualify for PFL, the paid family leave. So what you qualify for is FMLA. And I was like, what is the difference? And why won't I get paid? They said, yeah, even the PFL, you get a portion of it paid off, but the FMLA is just to secure your job so that when you don't show up at work, your employer can fire you. And the FMLA is just for 12 weeks. Covering me. I haven't used it, but in case I want to use it and I take some day off and I run out of PTO, the next thing we'll be moving to is my FMLA, 12 weeks coverage. And if that finishes, then they will advise me as to what next to do. But if it becomes a long-term disability thing, there's something else you apply for. Yes.
Okay, so about working hours. So average working hours in the UK is for NHS is about 37.5 hours per week. So I work 9 till 5 each day, and you're entitled to break in between. But for some people who do working on their wards as well, they do about 12-hour shifts. And a 12-hour shift, they can do maybe 3 days this week, next week 3 days, the third week 3 days, the fourth week they do four days. So in total, they are able to get the hours required. If you're new to the UK, you will be on a full-time contract. But if you've worked for a couple of years and you want to become a part-timer, then you can work whatever hours you want. There are people who are working as bank. There are people who are doing agency. But those are people who already have their documentation and citizens, and they don't have visa issues with anybody. They can work full-time agency if they want. But if you're new and you are employed and you're going to be needing visa from somebody, you can't be a full-time agency staff. So those are the thing, mainly 37.5 hours. In the private sector, people can do 40 hours or so. So it depends on where you work. Yeah.
Oh, in the US, everything about it is always different. There are so many ways you can work. You are either a full-time nurse, a part-time, a per diem, a weekend staff, a night contract staff, or you are a float nurse. There are many I cannot mention, but full-time, you are either 36 hours or 40 hours. I am full-time and I'm 40 hours. It depends on what, you can tell them what you want them to hire you for. The options are there. You tell them, hire me for 36 hours. That means there'll be a little short, you're 4 hours short of your pay. So if you want to 40 hours, yes. So I used to work 36 hours. I was doing 3 12 hours at the bedside, 3 12 hours, and I have 4 days off in a week. And now I do 40 hours. So I do 10 hours for 4 days. I do 10 hours for 4 days. And
yeah, so about the working hours in the US, you were in the middle of that, yeah?
Yes. So I'm 40 hours, and I do that 40 hours a week. So, and we are paid, I'm paid twice in a month. So by that 2 weeks, you'd have gotten 80 hours in, because 40 a week for 2 weeks is 80. So the paycheck comes and it's 80 hours on there. But if you do overtime, your money will be up a little bit, your pay will be better a little bit. If you do weekends, if you do holidays, if you do overtime, all those differentials affect your salary. Yes. And somebody who is part-time has a certain hours he has to put in by the end of the month. But per diem, people call it PRN, as needed. You go on your own terms. You stay there and pick one shift in like 2 months, then you disappear again and come and pick one shift in a month and disappear again. Per diem is your own terms, and you don't get any benefits from the hospital like tuition, health insurance. You don't get all that. Yes, and some people are in a float pool. So they are staff of the hospital, but the hospital has a float team. So they assign you to other floors based on the floor's needs for the day. So you driving to work have no idea where you're going to work. Until you show up there, then you say, oh, somebody just called in on 6:15. So you go to the 6:15 unit and work. Or somebody came in on this 4th floor, but the school called to come pick up a kid. So the person is gone. So you go there and take over. So you can even be in the middle of your work, 2 hours into your shift, then they text you and say, leave to this unit because somebody had to leave. So the float, you are a staff of the hospital, but you are in a floating team. Most ICU nurses do that because they are able to adjust to other floors easily. So they are in the float team. They don't want to have the drama on the floor, attached to one floor and going for meetings and huddles and bickering. So they just go to a floor, they don't know anybody, do their hours, and they go. Yes. And the weekends, show up and do weekends. So someone who is 36 hours but is a weekend staff will come in Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. They get off Monday morning and they disappear for another week. They come back Friday night. You only see them Friday night into Monday morning, they are done. Somebody who's a weekend staff only does Saturdays and Sundays. And those in nursing facilities can do 16 hours. The labor law doesn't let you work beyond 16 hours. So by 1559, you have to clock out. 15 hours and 59 minutes, you have to clock out. So we use the clogging out system. You have a badge, you swipe, some you can tap it. So when you walk into the building to start your day, you swipe. And some places when you're going on lunch, you swipe for lunch and swipe out for lunch and swipe out at the end of your day. But where I am, we don't do that for lunch. So we swipe in to start your shift, your 10-hour shift, and swipe out at the end of your 10-hour shift. Lunch break is between 30 to 45 minutes. When I was in the hospital working 12 hours, I was only getting 30 minutes of lunch break. They claim you're entitled to a 15 minutes if you're working in a 12-hour period. You are entitled to a 15 and a 30 minutes in that 12-hour. But you are so busy that you can't even do 15. You just go and do your 30. Even in the middle of 30, they are calling you, your patient is getting discharged, the patient has fallen down, and a whole lot of drama. But where I am, I get 45 minutes break in my 10 hours, which is pretty cool. Yes.
Okay. So now let's talk about healthcare in both places. So in the UK, our healthcare system, the NHS, which is the National Health system, is free. Although we say free, it's not free. We pay for it in a way, because when I'm working, I'm paying tax, and the tax that is taken, the government uses the tax to fund healthcare, education, and a lot of things. So if you are an immigrant and you're coming newly to the UK, especially like students, they pay about £470 a year to cover their healthcare. If you're other immigrants coming for work and long term, you pay about £624 per year. But during the pandemic, I know that the government have taken that off health workers who are coming here not to pay that with their family, but I don't know if that has changed and gone back to them paying it anyway. Now, so as I said, the healthcare is free. When I'm unwell, we start from primary care, which is your general practitioner or GP. So if I have maybe tummy ache, that is not something urgent, I would call my GP, make an appointment. These days, because of the pandemic, they're doing telephone communications or consultations and all that. If you need to go in, you go in and they assess you. If you need to be seen in secondary care in a hospital, then you'll be sent to hospital. Certain cases, you can go to A&E, which is the emergency department, especially life and death, heart attacks. You can call ambulance 999, and it is free to carry you to hospital if you need an ambulance. Certain minor conditions, flus and colds and all that, you can ring 111 if your GP is closed or they haven't got an appointment for the day, and 111 people will triage and tell you what to do. So if I need to have a surgery for something, that would be done in a hospital, and I don't pay for my surgery. Prescription, if my general practitioner sees me and they give me a prescription, there's a standard fee for prescription. It's about £9 and something per prescription. So you pay that, and that's it. So basically, that is how our health system is in the UK. There is private care as well, or healthcare, but people who go to private care, they pay their own insurance and all that, and they don't want to use the NHS, so they go to private. But the rest of us, the general public, we use the National Health system, which is the NHS.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the US.
I have to move over. I have to come to UK. So the health system in US is very different. It drains your pocket. It takes all your money. You wake up every day and your prayer is that, Lord, do not let me fall sick. Because as soon as you step in that hospital, you'll be home and the bill will come in and it's a headache. Ambulance is not free. I took ambulance and I owe $900, 7 minutes drive from my house to the hospital. That's a story for another day. So we have immediate care, we have urgent care, we have the ED, and we have the floors in the hospital. Yes. And the hospitals are in level 1 hospital, level 2, level 3, whatever. And some are also teaching, universities have their, it's like a learning center, people can come, research center and all that. Yes. So when you have a headache or diarrhea, you want to go to the urgent care or immediate care. When you need to do some blood work for a pre-employment, like you're an immigrant, you've come in and they want to test, before you get a job, you do a whole lot of physical and blood work. You go and the doctor will do assessments and write a report. You do all sort of blood work, make sure you don't have TB, you do all sorts of tests, make sure you have all your immunization and vaccinations, right, rubella, varicella, everything you can think of. Such a thing, you do the pre-employment evaluation at an urgent care or immediate care. But you have a heart attack driving, they call 911, that is our emergency. The ambulance comes in and they take you to the hospital. Then you be at the ED or ER, emergency room or emergency department. Then they attend to you. If you think you need further surgery or ICU, whatever, then you go up to the floor or to ICU or whatever, based on what your issues are. But you don't just get up and go to the hospital until like it's something beyond the urgent care. So when you go to the urgent care and they think, oh, this is something we can't handle, then they refer you to the hospital. They can actually call the ED and give them a heads up that Priscilla is coming. We think she's going into a PE, she has a DVT and is likely to be a PE. So quickly so before you get set, they've printed your documents, you're ready for them to put a name tag on you and you are good to go. And with the immediate care and urgent cares, we normally have NPs, nurse practitioners, or PAs, physician assistants, who manage or head that place. So when you go into one of them, you will see an NP, nurse practitioner, or a physician assistant. Hardly will you see a GP there, hardly will you see a GP there. So most NPs are at the immediate care. But when you get to the hospital, then you see residents, you see fellows, you see consultants, you see GPs, you see surgeons, you see everything in the hospital, yes. And the goal is that they get you in and get you out quickly, because medical care is expensive in this country. When you're old, above, I think 65 and above, you qualify for Medicaid, MEDICAID, or Medicare, MEDICARE, CAID or CARE. I don't know the difference, but it's for people who are not working, who have some sort of disability. Let's say you have some mental health challenge, or you are above this age, and you, depending on whatever your situation is, you might qualify for one of them, then they pay your bills, yes. But if you're active, like you and I, still going to work and making money, healthcare will drain all that money out of you. You go to the doctor's appointments and you have bills to pay. Sometimes it's a co-pay. You pay a certain amount before the doctor sees you. And the medications too, there's a co-pay. You pay an amount before off the medication price. And or something else I was going to say. So I have an insurance with my job. My job has an insurance of which I am on. And every month they take money from my paycheck into my account. So we have an HSA saving account. So you decide how much. I think they have a minimum they can take, but you can say, because of medical challenges, take $300 or take 100 and put there. So it's a saving for you to use to buy your medications and for you to use that money that you save there to pay your bills. I think the interest rate is a little bit lower. So you can use that to buy medications and stuff. Yes, but people who are travel nurses, a travel nurse is somebody, an agency nurse, who works contracts. She's working for this agency for 12 weeks in some area. Then after she picks a bag, travel to another state or travel to another hospital, you're always moving around like nomads. Yeah, that's a travel nurse. You are not a staff of any facility. So you cannot get health insurance from that facility. So therefore you have to buy your own health insurance and to cover you and your kids and your family members as you move around. Getting a private insurance is expensive. Anything private is expensive. But you can get that if they are paying you $10,000 a week. That's how much people were making during COVID in California and New York City and all. Now the COVID cases are down, so the prices have come down a little bit, but people are still making $4,000 a week, $5,000 a week. That is good money. So what is insurance that you cannot buy for your child, yourself, your family members? Yes. So health system here drains, and there are patients that are stuck in the hospitals who have nowhere to go because the nursing homes are choked. The skilled facilities are choked. There are memory loss centers for Alzheimer's and dementia and wandering patients. They are all choked. Some stay there and they are neglected, so they just stay there and die. So people are pretty much waiting in line for someone to drop dead before they can get a bed. There are private ones you can go to, but you can't pay. Some are as high as $2,000 a night. Yes, and you have all the services. You have your own suite, presidential, you have everything. and anything you want to eat and all that, you can pay for that if you can afford. There's one in my neighborhood and people are there and it's full. And people are still waiting to get in there. People own private jets and they are living there. Yes. So they give you all the services. So the private is expensive. You can buy that for yourself. There are private hospitals people go to as well, and the government ones as well. But the healthcare, the one thing is that the healthcare system is good. If you are sick, they will dig and find out what is wrong with you, and they will treat you, and they will perform miracles, and it's mind-blowing, and you'll be back on your feet. They will trace it down, they will nail it down, the cancer, they will attack it, they will take the cancer out and all. Yeah. So there are people walking around with all sorts of tubes. They go to the poolside, they have drains and oxygen, and they're living their life, they're on vacation, they're flying. Yes, they will take care of you. They will figure out your problem, they will solve it for you, but it comes as a huge, huge cost. You'll be broke paying those bills. I have a ton of medical bills I'm paying and I'm not done yet.
I know. It's hard, isn't it? So the next thing I will say, as you and me would understand, is for us foreigners who are living overseas, another thing that takes our money is childcare. Yeah. So childcare is quite expensive. If you're not careful, all your salary would go into childcare and you'll be left with nothing. So in the UK, childcare costs. So basically, when I had my child, we had to share responsibility. So I work day, the husband works at night. So somebody is at home to look after the children. So from school age, let's say year one, which is how many years? About 6 years going, it's free. Education is free from school age till sixth form. If you go to university, they are entitled to get a loan, which they pay when they qualify, when they start earning about 25,000 per annum, and they are allowed to pay over 30 years. After 30 years, it's written off. So that's for that. Now, for nursery, if you have to send your children, I'm going to give an example of it under 2 years old. Let's say outside of London. In London, it's more expensive. Outside of London, if you send your child for 25 hours for an under 2-year-old child, you could be spending about £137 per week. If you're doing full-time, let's say 50 hours a week, you could be paying about £363 per week. If you decide to use a nanny, you decide to use a childminder, you decide to use a pair, each of them have their own set fees that you have to pay. So basically, childcare can be draining. It would drain your pocket if you are not careful. Some parents decide one would not work, the other would work. But at the same time, living overseas, as you know, it's difficult for one person to completely care for the house. Some of us, we have to share the bills and pay. There are homes where, yes, one person stays at home, but if you can't afford that, then both of you have to work and pay. So that is how ours is here.
Okay. So childcare is expensive. So even back home in Ghana, bringing a human being into the world is expensive no matter what you do. The child has to eat, they have to get clothing, they have to go to school. So it's more expensive in the Western world where we live. So from 0 to 5, the child is at home, or we have a nanny, a babysitter. You take your child to a place, someone will watch over your kid. I know a nurse who stopped nursing for 15 years because she had, I think, 3 kids under 5, and she couldn't work. So she quickly turned her house into a daycare. So she takes other kids. So while she's watching her kids, she's making money watching other kids. Yes, I have another nurse who does my hair. She also has a daycare. The basement is a salon, and then the top is a daycare, and the top is a house. Yes, so you have to survive. So my friend's daughter is 3 years old. She pays $350 a week. And she takes the child to somewhere. I think there are about 6 kids the person is watching. It's a school, daycare, whatever. And if you pay that $350 on Monday and your child falls sick on Tuesday, nobody's giving you back your money. The child is going to be home with you Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but your $350 is gone. So we get paid bi-weekly, as I said. So that is $700 coming out of your paycheck in 2 weeks. So that is $1,004 coming out of your paycheck in 1 month. So that's one child. So if you have twins, triplets, you're doomed. If you have 3 children, you are doomed. That's why most immigrants, when we come in, the lady stays home for like a couple years till the kids grow a little bit. From 5 to high school, It's free if they are in a public school. But if your child is in private, it's private, you pay for it. Yes. Yeah. And from college going, there are student loans. Almost everybody who's schooled in America did not pay out of pocket. So you have student loans you are paying. You'll be paying until you can pay no longer. There are some conditions that they use to waive the student's loan. If you're a social worker, you are working for a nonprofit, an NGO or something, they might cut off some amount or reduce the interest rates or whatever, but everybody is working with a student's loan. Somebody says, I'm 75 years old and I'm not done paying my loan. Yes, I know somebody personal who is 73 and is paying student loan for his son who is 45 because his son is not doing anything meaningful, sort of. So childcare is expensive. So then if the nanny wants to charge $20 an hour and you are a minimum wage worker, you are working $17 an hour, it doesn't make sense to give that child to that nanny who is taking $20. From your 70, you are even going to run into -3. So what's the point in taking that child to daycare when you can just stay home? Yes. So when most nurses come, they run shifts with their partners like you do. And one is working afternoon, one is working day shifts, and one is working night shifts. My friend would tell me, Priscilla, we do the exchange in the driveway. The driveway is the parking where you park your car in front of your house. So as soon as she sees her husband's car coming, she runs into her car and run out so that the husband will come in and go into the house. She doesn't have that time to wait for him to get home, enter the house. So they do the exchange on the street. He's gonna text, I'm 2 minutes from the house. So she's already seated in her car. She's locked the kids up in the house, but she can watch them on camera or something. So she's sitting in her car. As soon as she sees his car coming on the street, she moves her car, she sees him on the road and waves him, and he enters the house and takes over the childcare. And mind you, this is somebody who is already tired from work, but takes over the childcare till my friend comes back from work the next morning because they have 3 kids under 5 and they can't afford it. So childcare is expensive. So if it's one income with a family of 5, they can't make it. So both of them have to work. What you can also do is instead of working full-time as the woman, you can work per diem or part-time. That means your pay will be very, very little, but at least you still go to work twice a week or something to manage. Yes.
So finally, we can talk about another thing about life living overseas is the bills we pay, accommodation. So basically in the UK, wherever you live, if you're living in London, it's expensive. If you're living out of London, it's a bit not as expensive as when you're in London, but it's still expensive. One of the things that take a lot of our salaries is your home where you put your head. We all need a place to put our head. So let's say you're living in a 3-bedroom house. I'll give an example. Ours is a 3-bedroom, it's a mortgage for 25 years. We are almost under 10 years to finish. So for the 3-bedroom, we pay almost about, let's say about £1,000 a month. On top of that, you have to pay what we call council tax, which the government used to sort out the bin collection, rubbish collection, and all those things. That is almost about 200 and something pounds a month. And then you have to buy petrol into your car, you have to pay house insurance, you have to pay car insurance, you have to all sorts of bill, gas, electricity, groceries, food, and everything. So at the end of the day, majority of your money is gone. If you're renting, so let's say a 1 or 2-bedroom house, if you're living outside of London, you can get for between £500 and £800 a month, depending on where you are living. Within London, it could be between 800 to 1,000 or 1,500, depending on the type of accommodation and depending on which area, because posh areas are expensive, less posh areas are cheaper. So basically, accommodation or most of our money goes into all these sort of bills when you're living overseas. It depends on you, how you spend your money. It depends on where you choose to live as well. If you're not careful, you might not be able to even save anything at the end of the month. You know?
That's very true. So we have the same bills here in the US. We also live in a 3-bedroom house. It's also a mortgage. So we pay something about $900 a month. There's property taxes of the city that you live in. There's a county tax. There are little things there, but about $900. If you want a 3-bedroom house for rent, it all depends on the area. If you want a 3-bedroom house for rent, like for $3,000, you'll find it.
Yeah.
If you want a 3-bedroom house to rent for $1,900, you'll find it. The location matters. If you go get a neighborhood because you're trying to be cheap, you're putting your life at risk. America and the gun issues and everything, there'll be a gang in your neighborhood. Your next door neighbor is making noise. You can't have peace of mind when you get home. So you want to choose a quiet neighborhood, a good neighborhood where you can have peace of mind. You know who the other homeowners on the streets. If it's a rental, they're not going to take off their lawn. They're not going to take off the property because they are renting. But if they are homeowners, they're going to take it because they bought it. It's their money that they're using to pay for it. Yes. So some of the bills, what else? We have the gas that you drive to work, the one you put in your car. We have gas for cooking. We have electric. It's combined. It's called gas and electric. It's together. You pay that. We have Wi-Fi for the house. We have cameras watching over the house when we are not here. We have car insurances because it's more than one car. We have house property insurance. We have health insurance. My husband, he's schooled here all his life, so he has students loans to pay a ton of it, of course. We have other properties too. We pay those are just personal on the side. We pay mortgages for those as well. Grocery, food, toiletries for the house. That is also something you don't regard, but it's a lot. Now you go shopping and the rice is, everything is up. Toilet roll, everything is just up. So grocery is also takes a while. And you also go out once a while. You go for picnics, you go to eat in a nice restaurant just for a little change. And those don't come cheap either. You have gifts, responsibilities. You have to go someone's birthday, someone's something. You can't go empty-handed like how Ghana, we just go empty-handed. Here, you have to get a little wine, a little flower bouquet, a little congratulation card, a little dress for the baby. So those are also part of it. There's phone bills. You have all your phones connected to one line. If it's T-Mobile or Verizon or AT&T, whatever you use, and you are paying for the phone bill as well. If you don't pay your bill, they cut you off and you can't get important calls. So the bills are never ending. And you have medical bills that you're paying monthly. And all these things are coming from that one salary that you have. So if the two of you are not working as a couple, then you will not be able to sustain the home. When you have childcare, your kids are demanding this, they want to go to Disneyland, they want to travel, they want a new tablet, they want a new game. You are paying for all of that. Minus other things, the family responsibility, everybody in Ghana are calling you. My child is in Ghana, my sister is in Ghana, my whatever is, yeah, they are all, like, I mean, the people are saying their child is abroad, sorry. My child is in America, my child is in UK, my sister is in America, my sister is in UK. This person has died, there's a funeral here, there's this, that, your aunts, everybody, they don't get it. They think it's a land of milk and honey and you cannot tell them that you don't have. They see you going to work, they see you on YouTube, you say you are earning this amount and why do you say you don't have it? So other little commitments and stuff like that would drain you. So you have to be very strategic and have other investments, like how the job will take some money and keep for your pension when you retire and all, but you can buy a private one as well, do a private on the side and still let them take some money and save there for your pension and disability and things. And some of them can even roll into stocks for you that will be accumulating some money whilst you're saving it there, because our job is very physical. The day you don't wake up and go, America won't pay you. The day you get paralyzed and stay in a wheelchair, that ends it. If something happens, you run into an accident, God forbid, and you lose your arm, you cannot be working with one arm because nursing is hands-on. They can do prosthesis and all, but it might not be the same. So then what do you have to fall back on? Your personal disability and savings to add to what the government will give you. Yes.
So that's really true. As well, we pay for your mobile phones, you've got the Wi-Fi, you've got your cable TV you have to pay for and all those things. And once again, like for our pension, our employers do pay into our pension. They contribute, you contribute. But if you can have a little private one on the side, that's good. Private investments are good as well. So in a nutshell, what advice do you have for our viewers out there?
Yes. So we hope this video has been helpful. We are not telling you that it's rosy in US or UK. We are not telling you come to UK or come to US. But people do ask me, Priscilla, you are my friend. On a friend-friend basis, what will you say? What I say is that if you are young and you are single and you're all about money and you have the energy to save up money, I think the US looks like a better fit for you. Because you are single, you're going to be able to travel. If you do travel nursing, you're going to be going around. But if you have 3 kids under 5, you can't be moving around all the states. But if you are all about, if your life goal is about, let me make the money, come to the US because it looks like the US pays better than the UK.
Yeah.
But if you've reached that point in life where you are tired of the city life, you are tired of all the running around, you just want to sit at one place, wake up, go to one job, come home, have a nice house, nice car, little business on the side, have a family time, have 1 year maternity and be with your kids. Have a good health system where you don't have to use all your money that you are making to pay for the health problem that you have. UK will be good for you, especially if you know you have a long-term diabetes. I'm told it will be a little bit manageable of kind of free over than UK. In US, there's always insulin in the news. You on the TV and there's insulin on the top, the headline passing by. There are people who have diabetes are trying to get a subsidized rate for insulin. So you can come and make the money, but you use all your money to buy insulin. If that's what you want, you can come over. Yes, but if I want that kind of quiet, slow thing, come to work and this and that. So it depends on what you want. I hope this video has been helpful. Make a good decision. We'll support you on whatever decision you make. There are people living in US and they are still there. People living in UK, 10 years, 50 years, whatever, and they are still there. There's a reason why people are where they are. And you can always make the move. You can get up today and go to Canada or go to Australia or come to US. You can go anywhere you want to go. You can move. So if you come here and you make the money once you're like 19 years old all the way to 25, 28, you can gather that money, go to UK, settle down, invest, and start working there. Or if you are tired of UK, I want the money now, you come over here. I have friends in UK who want to come over here. I have a friend with a family of 5, 3 kids and a husband. She's coming over here because the husband cannot find something in his field. But US, there are so many things. There's factory, there's restaurants, there's DoorDash, there's Uber. You will find something doing. There's real estate, there's a realtor job. There's always something to find. There's IT and healthcare. You can go to nursing school and all of that. Yes. So that's all I have to say. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So the same way as you said, in the UK, yeah, it's not as easy as people think as well. It's quite difficult with the work and life balance as well. Yeah, healthcare system is free. And at the same time, as you said, we are not telling people, don't go here, come here. It's your decision. Based on the information, you can make the decision. You can come to UK and you can move to US. You can move from US and come to UK as well. So it's up to them to make the decision. So thank you so much for coming today, Priscilla. If you want to know more about the US nursing and all that, Priscilla has a channel. I'll put her details there. Contact her, subscribe to her channel, and then, ask all the questions that you have. And I hope this video has been helpful. Thank you so much. Enjoy your day. And Priscilla, all the best for your day and take care.
Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.